The cameras did not cut as intended. Jim Jones did nothing but sit there. After Chrissy revealed her secret wedding on live TV, the audience gasped and social media erupted, but nobody knew what he was thinking. Nobody could determine if he was hurt, confused, or about to blow up. But what happened behind the scenes after the credits rolled wasn't meant for the public to see because the unedited, uncut film of what happened after Jim Jones went straight to Chrissy's dressing room while producers desperately attempted to defuse the situation was recorded by a concealed camera that was still rolling behind the curtain. A shout, charge, cry, and something neither of them expected to emerge. It wasn't just reality TV. A romance that had been growing for decades collapsed in real time. The internet as well. I was watching everything as raw, unrefined, and accompanied with a little yelling, a few walk-offs, and a hint of hostility on social media. It was supposed to be simply another special reunion. However, no one could have predicted what would happen in the final 5 minutes of Harlem edition of Real Love, Real Lives. Chrissy wasn't just flashy and self-assured, she carried a secret with her. As she shocked everyone by disclosing that she was married. She could feel the air in the studio being pulled out. In private, I finished the task at hand. I've never waited till now. I didn't inquire. The choice was mine. I'm married. Gasping. Not only the viewers, from the presenter, no, not from the performers who spent the whole episode recovering from minor drama. What was most crucial? Gasp. Was Jim Jones's silence the cause? Wearing sunglasses, he did not move, blink, or weep. The stage lights kept catching the diamond chains, yet his silence was more powerful than any response he could have given, as the reunion host desperately attempted to regain control and roll the credits. Producers gave the wrap-up cue, but Jim stayed still. The crowd applauded, the lights went off, and the actor began moving into the back corridor to prepare for their exit interviews. However, Jim Jones remained still on that chair. One of the boom mic operators later said, he didn't even react angrily, just a shock. It felt like he was struck by a bus composed of all the what-ifs he had ever avoided. He sat there, gripping the arms of the velvet reunion chair with both hands as if he was trying to hold himself together. That quiet place where your heart is at a loss for words. His only words, barely audible over the crew's jokes, were, "Wow, for real." The microphone was still hot. Then, without warning, he stood up, moved slowly and purposefully, and had no intention of leave, let alone head to the dressing rooms or the green room. He immediately walked to Chrissy's personal trailer backstage. She had kept it locked ever since they arrived. What was not captured by the primary cameras? The action really veered off course at that point. The main camera feed went dark, but Reggie, a freelance videographer working backstage, had been hired to record behind-the-scenes videos for social media marketing, and they kept doing so. I'm really glad he did, because what did he catch? It was an all-out conflagration. Jim unaware of what he was going into. Reggie kept rolling as he hurried past security and pushed open Chrissy's dressing room door with one hand. Avoid knocking. Not a single word. That's all you're going to say to me? Yes. In real time, on television. Oh. Chrissy spun around. The makeup artist was frozen, mid-touch, still missing one heel. She clenched her teeth and let her tiny mirror fall to the floor. Jim, you knew we were done. Did you know that? Indeed. Are you married though? Oh, you married this guy and didn't even send me a text. Oh, you didn't think I deserved at least that. Oh, you'd want to talk right now. You ignored me for 6 months after avoiding couples treatment. So when you didn't even show there when your mother passed away. Boom. That's when it got real. Every single person in that hallway ceased breathing, and you could listen to it. The production assistant's clipboard froze in her palm. While one of the background stylists tried to close the door, Reggie retreated just enough to maintain the audio. The microphone in Chrissy's dressing room was left running without anyone's knowledge. It wasn't the norm. It was a total accident, yet the audio was crystal clear when that video was leaked 2 hours later. It went viral on Twitter. He gave her quiet after Chrissy gave him 20 years. Read the synopsis of a video while having tea with C talked about it. He made her decide for herself. The video has now gone viral. Supporters were divided. Some were betrayed, hurt, and taken by surprise. The majority of them were Chrissy's squad since her voice broke with pain under all that pressure. Even though they were all on Jim's side. I desired more. You were aware of that. You knew I was tired. I waited on you for years. Jim shot back. You promised me a life, a wedding, and a family, and I just had potential. I pledged allegiance to you. No. You put me in a state of uncertainty. Twitter goes crazy. In a matter of minutes, Chrissy and Jim Jones were ranked first and second in the nation. The Shade Room posted the footage. Hollywood Unlocks talked about the fight in real time. Mama Jones even got involved in the chaos by posting a 2012 picture of herself and Chrissy with the caption. And the comments were astute. Just like that, poof, lost. Jim had 20 years and no rings. Buddy thought that love and time were synonymous. I do to someone who actually did, Chrissy remarked. The man gave us dips at classics, but was unable to get Chrissy a date. Meanwhile, supporters began to remove receipts. Chrissy dropped down on her knees for that 2011 proposal in earlier interviews and love and hip-hop programs. Every moment she waited was caught on camera and posted online. She no longer had to wait. Jim returns to his trailer after exiting Chrissy's room. According to a production worker, Jim remained silent. He didn't scream, didn't make any noise, and didn't try to fight. He just quietly walked to his trailer, sat down, and closed the door. He remained silent. A makeup artist who offered him a towel said as much. He just stared at the floor. He eventually removed each of his chains one at a time and carefully set them on the vanity counter. Nobody had ever seen Jim without them since the start of filming. 10:48 p.m. To finally break the silence, he texted his first-day acquaintance, Freaky Zicky. Chrissy's phone kept vibrating while she said, "She really did it." I believed her to be bluffing. Meanwhile, fellow actors, bloggers, and Chrissy's phone was inundated with texts and direct messages from people she hadn't spoken to in years. One message, though, resonated differently. The world was still ignorant of her new marriage. Chrissy didn't want to make headlines, so she sent her a little note that said, "I'm proud of you, let them speak." She was aware of what would occur when she, with her wedding ring hidden behind a fresh manicure and her heart strengthened by 20 years of history. She joined that reunion taping. She didn't want to damage Jim's reputation. She didn't a desire for retribution. But there was one thing she wanted: peace. And she had to abandon the Jim Jones idea in order to get it. Something she possessed, been afraid to do for over a decade. The ring that made all the difference. It wasn't a really complex proposal. No helicopters, no rose petals, and no diamond embroidered with rap lyrics. Just a beach, a handwritten message, and a man who preferred to work with Chrissy instead of trying to make her better. What is that man's name? Marcus Bellamy. Indeed, the renowned architect who has created homes for the hip-hop elite. They got together for interior design at a gala in late 2022. Chrissy was there to assist a friend. Marcus was the primary speaker. The two happened to be seated next to each other during dinner. She didn't even apply makeup that night. It was her self-assurance, not her curves, which he complimented. She was devastated when he inquired what she did for herself rather than what she did for Jim. Later on, she told a close friend, "That question has never been posed to me without a connection to someone else." They had a bad start. Long walks around Central Park, coffee dates, and bookstore meetings. No photographers. Avoid boasting. On time. For the first time in years, Chrissy also felt like a real person instead of a stand-in. He proposed 11 months later. Years in. He proposed 11 months later. Years. He proposed 11 months later. Not caught on camera. Not at the club. Not only for show. Only her favorite wine. A private dinner. And a silent letter placed on her plate that said, "I don't need you to prove anything." Then there was a small ring. "All I want is to be loved." Aloud. Her. Not going viral. "No more waiting" is written in a tiny engraving inside a golden band. At that moment, she realized she would never go back. Why did she hold off till the show? At this point, the situation gets more complicated. Chrissy knew she couldn't just give up on the world she helped create. She and Jim were more than just a couple. They were a brand. Before the word was created, they were hip-hop relationship aspirations. Fan pages, tabloid profiles, collaborative appearances, sponsorship agreements, and years of love in hip-hop. She was also in love with him. For that man, she would have accepted a bullet. Once, but if nothing is done, love is only hope, rotting in a corner. Chrissy waited for Jim to show up for years, both as a guy and as a partner. She proposed to him in 2011. She waited for him to ask her out on a date. She begged him for counseling when things got cold. And every time she tried to move on, Jim would always leave her with the same excuse. "My personality is known to you." She did too. But what was it that she was unaware of? The amount she would have to pay. She squandered time, confidence, and even a child. Indeed, Chrissy miscarried in 2015, but no one knew about it. She later claimed Jim was physically present, despite the fact that he did hold her hand at the emergency department. However, emotionally, I was left by himself in that hospital. As a result, She persuaded herself that meeting Marcus was too soon and that she couldn't start anew. Maybe she wasn't deserving of a man who wanted her immediately. But then she looked at the calendar. Her 50th birthday was just 6 months away. Additionally, she made a self-promise to not wait until she was 50 to obtain. She had begged for the same ring when she was 30 years old. No one anticipated the production leak. It turns out that Real Love, Real Lives was aware of Chrissy's wedding producers prior to Jim. Indeed. Sources claim that Chrissy asked for a moment at the end of the reunion to talk openly and honestly about her relationship status and her contract rewrite, which she submitted several weeks prior to the start of filming. She didn't want the cameras to capture Jim's reaction. All she wanted was to get her tail back. But the producers thought it was contagious. The show's run was rescheduled. In the final 5 minutes, she made her announcement, kept Jim in the dark, failed to notify the actors. Didn't single quotes to even brief the host. They wanted the event to feel authentic. What did they receive? Was caught as heartbreaking in 4K? When Chrissy realized how they had set Jim up, she became enraged. She had cautioned them not to exploit his reaction. However, after the footage was recorded, it belonged to the network. The video was leaked when she knew there was no turning back. Jim's inner circle communicates. An urban podcast claims that one of Jim's closest boys wanted to stay nameless had actually intended to ask Chrissy to marry him again at the reunion. It was said that Jim had already selected a ring. He had spoken to Mama Jones, who was delightfully supportive this time. He had also hidden the ring in his suitcase, intending to take it out at their final encounter. The plan: one last try. One last try. But here's the twist. He was never given the chance because, before he could say anything further, Chrissy declared, "I'm already married." Supporters were divided. Some said Chrissy should have warned him. Others, suppose she has been warning him for 20 years. The piece she had never dreamed of. After turning off her phone, Chrissy boarded an upstat train the day after the reunion. No entourage, no glam, just her and Marcus. A small hut on the lake served as their lodging. Consumed home-cooked meals. I didn't look over their shoulders as I performed jazz. They chuckled. Someone close to Chrissy claims that she shed even in the face of the public ovation and fan adulation. Chrissy still had to deal with the reality that she had broken a man who had previously loved her passionately, even if he wasn't sure how to show it. This caused her to cry once out of relief and once out of remorse. But she also knew that if I didn't leave, I would wither. Meanwhile, Jim is preparing something. There are rumors that Jim isn't done yet. Sources claim that he has been penning a new solo song that, according to some fans, already sounds like a Chrissy diss track. I should have known the song's title and lyrics. Brutal statements such as, "She stole my loyalty and turned it to silent and let her some time." An excerpt that was leaked shows that she caused me violence. There's no doubt that Jim is hurting, whether it comes from Chrissy to doesn't get better, whether it's through heartbreak, prison, or both. In the days following Chrissy's wedding announcement, Jim Jones disappeared from public view. Not a single Instagram live. No interviews, absolutely no. Fans were used to seeing Jim flare up because he was the Hoded of Harlem and the voice of unrepentant emotion. But this time, he was silent, which caused people to Jim's stillness did not indicate serenity. So I was afraid. There was increasing pressure. I should have been aware of the song that went viral at the same moment when everyone believed Jim would remain low for eternity. I should have known as a surprise freestyle that he posted to SoundCloud. The beat was terrifying. The words are direct daggers. "You took I was too late to draw the line when an airplane entered his life. For 20 years, I gave you space and time. I accepted responsibility as you left. You dressed in white. However, I was ashamed." The internet was unavailable. The TikTok creators started making outrageous replies. According to a fan who stitched a video, he didn't simply lose a girlfriend of Chrissy's wedding announcement over the music. His legacy vanished. But why did everyone clutch their pearls? "You are still my forever," was the final line I heard during the outro. Talk to her. Even if you only visit me in my fantasies. Even if you only visit me in my fantasies. Oh no. No, the backstage message was supposed to be heard by one. Remember the covert camera Reggie had backstage? As it happens, it was able to catch one before Jim left the premises that night. Extra time. While he waited outside the exit door with his chains and hoodie pulled down, he paused long enough to talk to Kendra, Chrissy's best friend, who was waiting with her suitcase off. Then put his glasses back on. "Tell her that I never intended for it to end this way. I've always been worried that she will outgrow me. Tell her." She did, too. Next, he went out into the night. The video was never broadcast. But Kendra, she gave it out on purpose. People had to realize that it wasn't only about ego. That man loved her. First of all, he had no idea how to love himself. We never heard what fans didn't know about the vows. 2 months before Chrissy was already married when the reunion was filmed. Neither a reporter nor a camera caught it, just 30 individuals. Outside is a Spanish courtyard, a sunset that seemed to have been painted by God himself. And Chrissy's vows, they were lyrical and personal. But one portion unintentionally appeared on her close friend's Instagram account and hit a different chord. To the man who saw me before the rest of the world did. Thank you for teaching me what love isn't. It said. Chrissy was considered offensive. You taught me how to ask for better things. And now I get it. Whoa. A few were angry. You should not be taken adversely. She still felt a connection to that gym. Some, however, felt that it was poetry disguising itself as closure. A painfully written chapter with a powerful conclusion. Just when the internet thought things couldn't get any messier, Mama Jones spoke up. She posted a self-portrait video, sitting on the kitchen counter with a glass of white wine, where every well-known drama begins with a caption. Let me say this only once. I love Chrissy. I've always had and always will. But you don't do that on television and hope for no response. I'm glad she's happy. However, don't act as though my son isn't defending her. Have you waited? You guessed it, sweetheart. He survived you. 2. Fans said in the comments, conflict. Some suggested that she informed her mother. Chrissy watched silently while others said, you brought him up. Don't blame the woman. Blame the man. One of the most popular comments claims that Jim sobbed repeatedly. They both lost, but only one of them made a full recovery. What's going to happen to Jim next? While Chrissy and Marcus were in Italy for their honeymoon, Jim came back to the studio. However, insiders say it wasn't because of the music. It was for medical care. Indeed, there are rumors that Jim has surreptitiously signed up for a private men's mental health retreat in upstate New York. Away from media, phones, and other distractions. He's not attempting to return. Before he steps back into the spotlight, those close to him say he is trying to improve the man. That is accurate, and in all honesty, Jim would have gone to a strip club 10 years ago, put out a record, and dated a stranger just because, be stylish. Did Jim put up with the pain? Chrissy as well. She is content. Images of Chrissy and Marcus dining at a waterfront. She is content. Images of Chrissy and Marcus dining at a waterfront restaurant surfaced. Not glitzy, not paparazzi. With her head resting on his shoulder, she gave him a gentle grin, and her fans couldn't help but be happy for her because, after years of begging, hoping, and suffering, she finally decided to pick herself. Not for the sake of the culture, not for headlines, not for clapbacks, but for peace. The internet reacts when she later confesses to a friend, I didn't leave him to hurt him. I left him to save me was one of the popular fan tweets. Chrissy gave Jim every opportunity to appear. He said nothing. She bid them farewell. Love that is unchanging leads to emotional debt. She produced a prophet. Jim Jones learns that devotion and labor are two different things. His queen was treated like a backup dancer by that man. She was anticipating feeling valued, not for an Imagine the final scene of this story on a split screen. Jim Jones is seen sitting in a dimly lit studio on the left, looking at an old photo of Chrissy with his headphones off and tears in his eyes. The afternoon sun beams on Chrissy's new ring as she and Marcus stroll hand in hand along a cobblestone street on the right. She doesn't look back. She doesn't have to. She had already spoken everything she needed to say. Family. That's all. The story of the public shouldn't have watched footage of lost love, squandered time, and healing. There was more to this decade of love, silence, and missed possibilities than just reality TV drama. It wasn't just Chrissy that Jim Jones lost. The patient version of her vanished. Chrissy as well. She didn't marry for revenge, but for peace. Now it's your time to comment. Do you think Chrissy disclosed her marriage on live television? Or had Jim sealed his fate by keeping her in suspense for too long? Own demise. Please let us know which team you genuinely support in the comments section below. Hashtag Team Jim Jones or hashtag Team Chrissy. If you're interested in what follows, here is Chrissy's new husband confronting Jim head-on. Indeed, that will occur next. Click like, subscribe, and enable post notifications. It's not finished yet because of this tale. Inappropriate locations are where we have cameras. Cameras in unsuitable.